How's it going, everybody? This is Random Black Guy, and today on Tech Taylor, we're going to be talking about a new device this time. A device that hasn't come out yet, but it has just been announced this week, and that is the Razer phone. And in this video, we're going to be talking about why would this be a fit for you. A little bit different since I don't have the device on me to actually completely test it out, say a lot of the good things and my experience about that. A lot of that's going to be omitted from this video, but I do want to kind of hit on this as a why this may be an interest to you when it does come out, rather than saying, you know, why this is actually be the perfect fit for you. And I feel like this phone has a lot of stuff that I do want to hit on personally as a consumer, a tech person, and there's a lot of stuff about this that I feel like everybody should know in order to think if this would be a good purchase for them. So the first thing about this phone, I got my laptop here to kind of go over some of the information. One is the screen size. It has a 5.7 inch screen, really basic when it comes to a lot of the newer phones that have come out this year. And I feel that, you know, that it's pretty good just for looking at the dimensions of the phone and everything. It still feels like it's going to be like the other phones so far. It's going to feel rather large in your hand. You know, it's supposed to be, the idea of the Razer phone is supposed to be for games. And so they want to kind of give you something that is wide enough for games, and especially when it comes to using it for, you know, mobile gaming. Now, but that's just one thing about it. The best thing about this is that this display is 120 hertz refresh rate, meaning it just like all the time this is refreshing 120 frames per second. There are not too many games that even reach up to that level, and a lot of other stuff that you would see, mostly this would see on a television where the pictures are a lot bigger, the pixels are a lot more stretched out and everything, and you want to be able to have a good refresh rate in order to keep up with all the action. This is doing it for a small screen just so those games could look wildly better. And honestly, personally for me, I feel like that's gonna work all around. I feel like a lot of the movies that come out that look really good on phone, and a lot of the YouTube videos that you might not be able to watch 4K like on some TVs or on some laptops, but you're more likely to be able to see it on your phone, will also actually look pretty good. So that's actually so far been its biggest selling point, is that screen that everybody's loving. But this phone has a lot more to offer. It also comes with dual camera setup. With that, it has the telephoto lens and of course the regular one. The telephoto is 2 times, so you can actually get some pretty good pictures with it, and it does record 4K. I don't see too much more information outside of that, so I'm not sure if it records 4K at 30 frames per second, 4K at 60, but it does record 4K. It does take some decent pictures, and the front facing camera is also 8 megapixels. So far that's kind of standard. It's kind of what the Note is doing right now, but of course a lot of the Note 8's good features are also in the software, you know, being able to have a better bokeh effect and change how much you want the background blurred out. So in this case, when I might not see too much of that kind of software cool stuff happening, so far it hasn't even been noticed, so they're probably not trying to sell that. So they're probably just kind of give you a decent camera. So if you want other cool things to go with your phone, this might not be the phone when it comes to camera software options. However, if you still just more interested in just taking a better picture from, you know, autofocus and everything, this not be a bad option. Now, the biggest thing that I love is the battery life. Right now, it's the only phone, and that's, you know, that's probably not true. I know there's another phone, but right now it's the only major phone that I know of that hits 4,000 milliamp lithium-ion battery, and that is something a lot of the other companies have been kind of shying away from, just so they can kind of more avoid what happened with the Note 7 and the battery issues there. They wanted to go with the smaller battery and stuff. However, Razer said no, gamers need battery, and so we're going to give them the biggest battery that we can produce right now. And that is really good for a company's first try at a phone. And yes, this phone is probably the, you know, result of them acquiring Nextbit, but either way, that phone did not have a lot of the features that this phone has. So whatever we did in that short amount of time, they said we're going to up everything. And this battery life is probably going to be the best thing about this phone, not just for gamers, but for everybody. There's a few other things that are on there. The 8-core, CPU with, of course, the Snapdragon 8 3500. You also get the 8 gigs of RAM. So one of the only phones that start out with 8 gigs around. They don't have a lower version like a 6 or a 4. And it's probably one of the bigger, another thing that they have over when some of the other major flagship phones who still only have 4 gigs of RAM or who are still at 6. So this phone comes out with 8 gigs off the bat. And I forgot to mention this, and I should mention it, that 4,000 milliamp battery is also quick chargeable. So that means you can get a quick charge out of it really well, really fast, and that's also a major thing. You want to be able to get back to 100% as soon as possible. But of course, it just has a lot of the other stuff for gaming, the 8 gigs RAM and all that. Now, some of the other things, it doesn't have the headphone jack, but it does come with a 24-bit adapter, which should work for a lot of people who like high-res audio. So the adapter actually works out pretty good. You know, if you do have those more expensive headphones, you should be able to get that clear sound from this. As well as if you're not trying to use the headset or the adapter and you want to be able to listen to everything full frontal, it has 2 front-facing speakers that seem like they just blow the hell out of some people. Like a lot of people that I've seen so far use this have loved the sound coming out of them. And I feel like with this kind of device, like it also has the amplifiers too, so I feel like it's going to be very noticeable if someone plays it in, you know, the middle of a crowded room. So this is just a few things that I liked about it that really are coming out and popping out that I'm glad that they're doing. A lot of this stuff, like personally for me, I wish other phones did and not shy so much for. I do like my phone's infinity display and everything, but I feel like there are just some things that it's missing that could make some of the things about the phone a little bit more better. You know, a little bit more desirable. And I feel like this phone hits a lot of that while being really simple. So there are a few things that should be noticed about this phone. It doesn't show how water resistant it is. I think I've heard some things about it, but it hasn't been coming up a lot about how water resistant it is. I've also seen one that the design is probably like the most like lackluster thing about it. Just, you know, that perfect rectangle design. It's supposed to look like the Razer laptops have that kind of similarity and have that full aluminum, metal, whatever body that a lot of people are gonna like. It doesn't seem like you get a lot of fingerprints, so if you're worried about that, you know, don't worry about it too much. Of course, again, not having the headphone jack might be a little disappointing, but at least they give you the adapter. So the one thing I do want to wrap up for this phone is that this phone is only $700. And that is a major thing. A lot of phones right now with the Note 8, with the iPhone 10, now that just came out today, a lot of these, they're expensive. Like, I mean, they're having to prove to you, the consumer, that they are worth this price. They're worth, you know, the $1,000, the $930, the $850. You know, we have a lot of phones right now that have some decent features and are pushing, you know, new limits, but they're asking for more money for it. And, you know, it's hard for us as consumers to kind of accept that. Some people do it and some people don't. And a lot of times the price does change how you view a product. And now we have a device that's going to come out November 17th for $700 that is claiming more wins than losses. Like, there's a lot of stuff I don't like about the device that doesn't compare to how much I do like about the device. And for me, when I see like a lot of things happening or a lot of that's going on with this phone, and I think about generally who would want this phone, it's hard for me to not just say everybody. I don't view this phone as a gamer phone. It has a lot of the nice stuff when it comes out for it, but when I look at it, it's like, who wouldn't want these features in their phone? Who wouldn't want a longer battery life? Who wouldn't want a better screen? Yeah, it's not OLED, but it's still, you know, 2K somewhat kind of a screen, 1440 pixels by 2560, something like that. I mean, it's the right size. It's good to hold. You still got your dual camera setup that's been coming like a new thing for most cameras. There's a lot that this phone does that has just like those other big brothers and has more that I just generally don't see. Like, they could take off the Razer name and just give it something They could have called this the essential phone, and I would have believed this is more of an essential phone than the essential phone that came out. This phone has a lot going for it, and for me, if I were to recommend this, if someone were to come up to me and like, you know, would you want to buy the Galaxy S8? Would you want to buy, you know, the iPhone 8 as well? I would tell them like, well, before you go into that, check this phone out, see if you like it, and I think this phone will probably be a fit that worth more your money. I feel like a lot of the stuff that is happening with this phone are some great wins, and I think anybody who gets this phone will be very excited and very fulfilled with what this phone will do for them. Oh, and just in case I have to mention it, micro SD card expandable up to 2 terabytes. So 64 gigs of memory, still expandable. Stuff that you want, still there. Everybody, thank you for watching this video. If you really like this video, please hit the like button and share with your friends. Let's have a conversation about this. I feel like this phone will be something that you will like, and I can't wait for some of y'all to actually get it and tell me y'all experience of it when it comes out November 17th. But until then, hopefully everything that you saw today will help you make a better and more informed decision tomorrow.